Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
Along with me is Bill Grumler.
Wolverine.
We're analyzing the programming of the 2025 CrossFit Games, and we have two very special guests, Mr. J.R. Howell. And the man will do his best, potentially JR impression of the day. That is Mr. JR's correspondent, John Young.
I don't hate what you do. I just hate what you look like.
I gotta start watching more show. I don't know. That might be an all-time clip. I think that is. I don't know if yours will ever change, John. We tried so many. You have the most clips of anybody. I would say collectively together of the people who've come on the show, you have more for yourself. But I think that one's gonna stick.
Look at that way. Did you see him trying to do the JR right now? He's holding like his mouth. He wants to say things so bad.
Can't have two JRs on the show.
Bubbling. Right now. Bubbling.
And then I'm just gonna start listening more and more. I mean, I listen to all your stuff, but I'm gonna find one. I'm gonna find a JR clip one of these days. Get it.
Hey, you want to know? I bet we could pull a lot from the games, dude.
Oh, I could. What's that?
I said, I bet we can pull something from the games because JR was talking way more than JR.
Dude, you guys crushed the games.
Totally. It was so good.
John, how many times have you been to the games?
3.
JR?
5 or 6 times.
5 or 6 times. Is that the best seating? Was that the best experience y'all have had? I mean, you obviously, JR, you've competed, and you've had athletes, but like where you guys were at,
that was the best. Yeah.
Even where I was jealous. Like,
yeah, it was really cool.
It was phenomenal. It was the best experience I have had by far.
I think I was talking to Savant actually, John, about you, and I was like, this is like peak. I mean, I know John's married, just has a baby girl, but like this is peak for like this is a huge core memory for John right now.
Yeah, I was hard for half the competition.
Use that. See, all right, we're getting clips already. You can use that one right there.
That's true. I should have waited for the laughter, but I couldn't contain myself. Welcome, everyone. We are recapping the programming. One of these days, we'll just do a games recap in general. I would love to. I have so much to talk about, just about the games in general and everything that surrounded it and what it meant to me personally. And I would love other people to share their personal experiences, but we got a lot of stuff to get to today as we center around this. JR, you went live yesterday with Bryson about the topic of unknown and unknowable. Usually I didn't watch. I saw the beginning. I came in and pop in and say hi. But I didn't watch the whole thing because usually, I know you do this too, is that I don't want to watch it to influence the whole show today. I will double back on that. But in that element, I think it is fair to say is that a couple things about this year's games that were different was we had the earliest announcement of an event in the history of the games, over 2 months, which was Run, Row, Run. And then they announced more events before the games even started in the history of the games. I guess just expand a little bit, not to ruin the show before I watch it, but how did you feel about that coming in? Because personally, part of me, every time there's an event announcement, I'm like, damn it, save some of these. I know they saved 3 technically during the competition, but I like less is more in my camp.
Yeah, I mean, I went through every single year at the games and just rattled off either the new stuff that they did that year, or if it had been 5 years, like the ring handstand push-up being brought back, right? Like with the separator or whatever, after it had been years and years and years since they had done ring handstand push-up. So I went through and basically just rattled off all the new stuff. And until we got to this year, there wasn't anything, unless you consider the axle bar. And we talked about like axle bar has been in regional competition with the shoulder to overhead and the front rack lunge. It's been overhead lunge and the Cinco's too. It's been front rack lunge and up and over. Like we've seen the axle bar. We haven't seen it for deadlifts in the individual field. But if that's where you're putting your stake in the ground of unknown and unknowable, see right there, like that's We didn't.
I
have
agree.
any.
I can agree with that.
We just didn't like. And if I were to ask Bill, what is CrossFit specifically? Even just the methodology. Hey, we want to prepare you for anything life throws at you, for anything you might encounter, blah, blah, blah. That spills over to the sports side.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, if he would have just saved the crossover double under and not released that and just said the day before, this is the workout you're going to do. You have to do 80 of them. I think that would have been enough, because I think there are enough people out there that had not made sure that that was tight, that it could have given someone a 28th or a 29th for sure.
Yeah.
But because they had so much time, I mean, there just wasn't anything unknown and unknowable for what we know the CrossFit Games to be. And I'm comparing it to all the other years. I'm not saying it wasn't a good all-around test. I'm just saying,
sure.
Do we need that part of it? There have been people clamoring for years that part needs to die. And
I disagree with that.
We don't need it, right? Because people get tips, or people get information before others. People show up with the right jump ropes, whatever. But if there was any level of adaptation to this competition, remember, they had the axle information almost 2 weeks before.
True.
So people didn't have to adapt to anything this year that was new. And I just don't know how that sits with me.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point to talk about. Bill, like, obviously you're in a big camp. Like when JR's talking about CrossFit methodology, it preparing you for the unknown and unknowable. I think the methodology is more important in that arena as far as unknown and unknowable, because that's just what we call life.
Right.
Does it have to happen at the games? I don't think so. Is it fun when it does? Absolutely. Should it be an element of it? I also agree.
I think that using the unknown, like, it's such a great phrase and a great comment, and such a staple to what we know of as CrossFit. But I think that, like, it's been used in such weird ways that, like, it's kind of lost what it's supposed to be used for. The unknown and unknowable, I really believe that it's for the life element of it. I agree with what JR is saying about the adaptation element. However, like, I really don't think you're going to have that much adaptation. Like, the whole point is, did you train up to, okay, if I had 2 weeks on something, then I'm just working on nuances, but I'm not going to become like a super proficient whatever over the course of 2 weeks. I should have thought about already doing that before. So all I'm doing it then, I'm just kind of tightening up the screws a little bit. I don't think the whole thing needs to be unknown to where they get there and they have no idea, because if you have something like, I mean, the worst thing is when you have a movement that is so new or so different that everyone, now all of our greatest athletes look like idiots because they can't do it. The thing is, like, our athletes aren't the most athletic. They're the fittest. So we want to make sure that they can showcase their fitness, not that adaptation point on like square one to now. You haven't heard anything and now you got to try to make it happen. I mean, I agree that it's fun to watch. I like to see people kind of struggle and get that, but I don't think it's that bad that they had an idea of things that they're going to be doing ahead of time. There's that time frame. You can play with that too. I don't want it to be really long, but I don't think it has to be like hours before the event either.
So Real Matthew says, a games with nothing known until the night before would be the best showcase of athletes. I actually 100% completely disagree with this point. I know what you're probably trying to say, but 2010, nobody knew anything. That wasn't a rock star display of athleticism in CrossFit Games. 2019, same thing. Arguably one of the worst ones. Right? I think this is a point that I was actually going to try to make, Matthew, so I'm using you as an example. Did we have the greatest races in the history of the CrossFit Games, save from a couple of all-timers? I think so, for both the men and the women. I think the programming and knowing that a little ahead of time aided in that process. I would argue
it would cut a lot of those drops off. You're right. It would cut a lot.
And I would argue, and again, this is my personal opinion, this was one of the greatest displays of CrossFit athletes at the CrossFit Games in years. Like we've had some amazing tests, 2017, 2018, just the grandiose of what the programming was. 2014 is one of my personal favorites. And there was a lot of new things, but it wasn't a lot of wild things in 2014, which allowed those athletes to really shine. I mean, think about 2014 when we talk about the muscle up biathlon. That was a unique format. It wasn't unique stuff to do. The 21-15-9 complex, that was a wildly unique format, but it was really straightforward CrossFit. Triple threes, all those other things. There was nothing crazy about 2014, a clean speed ladder for the first time. There were so many new formats that were introduced in 2014, which I think made it exciting. That's the more of what I was looking at, right? But I'm with you, John. I mean, before we get into the programming, you know, how do you feel about that element or the weekend in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we look back through a historical context of every year, there is something that we haven't seen before, or whether that be a format or an implement. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy, but a new implement. You know what I mean? Like something like, or bringing back an implement. You like the snail race, and I think to push back on like what Bill said, if you didn't announce the double under crossovers at all and then just said this is the event, we already saw it. So if they don't have it, it's on them. That's a niche skill.
It's like the ring handstand push-up, right?
Correct. That probably few
that early
mastered, but those people should get to showcase that they mastered it.
That's a good point.
And nobody else did, right? Like, and I feel like you missed that whenever you announce everything ahead of time. I think the ability to adapt on the fly should be tested at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, but not all of it.
No, not all of it at all. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But it should be there. It should be a part of the test. And I don't think that's the only thing missing.
Yeah.
And granted, he said it would be. Like he said, it's just going to be, Castro said, this is going to be just CrossFit the whole time. It's not going to be flashy. We're not going to have any new implements. He said all of this beforehand. Yeah. So, yep. I mean, he told us what it would be. And I think from a programming standpoint, from a testing standpoint, amazing. I think, you know, and me and Tyler kind of had this fight on Wednesday. In my opinion, the programming has one job, and that's to accurately determine who the fittest people in the world are in a balanced way where everything gets tested. Mm-hmm. And I think 10 out of 10, it accomplished that 100%. I think the athletes make the races. I think the men's field, I don't think there's been a more exciting men's race. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I think Tia and Carr in 2017 might beat it, but like just the men's field, I can't think of a better race than what we have. Literally,
almost an entire heat, not just 2 or 3 people in the final heat.
For sure. 7th place going into event 9 could have won the CrossFit Games.
Oh yeah.
Like it's on the table. And so I think 10 out of 10 on programming, but I also think that we should have something that is adaptable or unknown and unknowable.
I agree with all that.
All right, hold on real quick, and then we'll get into the program. So do you think that, I don't disagree with what you're saying. What did this Games have to do this year for CrossFit? It had to win. It had to be solid for the athletes, for the fans, for the experience, for everything, for everyone watching and everyone involved. So you can't have, like, now is not the time to throw a surprise. So I think that like letting people know about the crossover double unders was on purpose because you don't want to have people just fuck it all up. I understand what we're trying to do, but like this was an element where we needed to win. We needed to have races, not someone that like, hey, I'm luckily good at double unders, at crossover double unders, because I did it all the time when I was a junior boxer or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But like someone hasn't, someone doesn't, to where someone gets stopped on something like that, then we're not able to showcase. I mean, the other way to do that is either you tell that, or the only way to do that is you tell them ahead of time, or you just don't put that skill in there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because we're not trying to test if they have crossover double unders or not. Like, who cares? Like, really? But like,
yeah.
I said this yesterday too. I feel like if there was a movement you would have bet wouldn't have shown up with Dave Castro programming,
Yes.
it was that one. So
100%.
even more so of a, oh, really? They're doing that movement? Like, I completely understand what Bill's saying. I think watching Danielle, Lucy, a lot of the guys, how good they made them look. I think they probably had those before it was announced. And yeah, could it have given someone a 25th? Did it maybe not because they had 3 weeks to practice them? Maybe, probably. But, you know, to Chase's point, in 2014, I was looking back at the notes. Deficit strict handstand push-ups, I don't think had been tested at the CrossFit Games yet or any other stage, because 2015, the following year, had them at regionals with the chest to bar and row.
Right.
And then the thick rope climb, which was, it didn't steal the show. It was just thick rope climbs into overhead squats. But to your point, like 2014 was kind of one of those years, like you said,
Dude,
different formats, but not a ton of new stuff.
Mhm.
But when you have a finale that's a back-to-back that no one knows right before, that is enough unknown and unknowable. And they did do that, which was cool.
Mhm. Fair. I think they did. If it's just flat strict, I think this is one because kipping was invented yet, but they had the deficit parallel handstand push-ups in 2009. But
Yeah, with
but
that
you had the
AMRAP.
you had that one leg kip that people would do.
did they? I was just thinking, I can't remember if they had like a little.
Spieler was so frustrating, man. He would just bend one leg every time. Just one leg would bend. And nobody else was bending at all. Everybody else is strict. So it's like, dude, this guy's a genius. He doesn't even know how to kip. He's just like,
Is this the real Dallin?
Yeah, it's
I think
real
it is,
down.
yeah.
Hey, Dallin. Your interview with Savan was fantastic. Savan, with him and Jason Hopper.
Dude, that interview was.
But I mean, both. I know how good Savan is at interviewing, but the Jason one and the Dallin one, I hope he gets a whole podium on there plus some. Yeah, it's just so good.
Well, I think it's nice that we have the top athletes willing to be so honest and transparent.
Yeah, that's also really
because
cool.
I don't think we had that previously.
Hell no. They didn't tell you anything till they retired.
Yeah, true.
I don't
You
know
know?
what started that, but I appreciate what we have.
I think it's this new
now.
crop of dudes like the Boys Interrupted podcast. You know, that's one thing, but the willingness to do, to jump on a Jeopardy show when you guys should just be training to kick ass at the CrossFit Games, like that's freaking cool to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys offer up your time, which we know is precious, to have fun, I think is super cool. Now you guys lock in for the games as you always should, but it's like John said, it's noticed and appreciated. So, all right, let's get to the task at hand. Analyze the programming. One of the question, this is why it was always fun to watch everybody's reaction in the chat or the text group every time an event got released, and then come on in a podcast, which was much more mellow than what would happen in the chat. I thought it was hilarious because I'm in the camp of like, I'll be like, and then I was like, all right, let's wait and see how, like, I'm team wait and see on the floor, right? Because when these things, and I'll say when these things were coming out on paper, I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know, especially when the event 9 was released, the sprint shuttle and the snatches.
See, I felt like I was in the minority.
I was trying to like make sure Taylor didn't drive off a cliff with Bryson in the trunk because when that one got released, because I was like, listen, guys, event 9 is going to be crazy.
I'm like, this is the one they least want to do.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is going to be one of the most painful
This
ones
is the
there is.
worst
I don't think you guys understand. Like, this is going to be terrible. Like, they're going to feel so bad doing this event. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I lined up event 9 for me and my one-on-one people. I got about like 10 people work out with me about 8:00. And I had them do it at the women's weights. The guys did it at the women's weights. And then I did it at 155. And I made it 2 rounds in. And then I just quit. and just because
that's 2 events you quit, dude.
Listen, I'm not very fit right now. and I knew what pain this was going to bring.
That's funny.
And I just didn't want to feel that pain.
Do you see Hiller's video where he did it within 10? Like he did it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it at the women's weight and beat that score because I think I can do that. But it's
Hey, Lucy, congratulations, girl.
Yeah, so good.
No one is happier for you more than John Young.
I wish we had it on video. Event 4, Chase. I don't know if you were aware, Chase, but Event 4 was. I mean, JR can speak to it. That was
I was probably wasn't aware. I was a little busy at the time.
Yeah. That was the most hyped I had been the entire competition.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, congratulations, Lucy. Next year, we're gonna make that Queen Slayer stick.
Dude, that was so good.
Like, I felt bad because I was like, listen, I'm calling you this. I didn't tell her this. I was like, if she beats Tia here, I'm saying it. All right. Event 1. My only complaint is the graphics that they were using, but it's fine. Long time domain, run, row, run, 45 plus minutes. Obviously, it's a high volume of work being accomplished. Everything's done at body weight. It's a chipper. It's all monostructural. It is a single modality, but it's 2 different movements. This kicking off the weekend, it's funny when this one got announced, I was the least excited about this because usually an early announcement is something like Murph. Like when Murph got announced, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And then they announced early last year run, swim. And I was like, all right, what cool and exciting thing are we going to do this year to bounce back from 2024? I know John is sitting there is like, this is going to be Dave's year. And then he was getting a little nervous going into the games.
No, we always have this event. I wasn't nervous at all. I don't know why you should expect anything that's
like
not
3 or 4 events and you're like, oh, okay.
I think I was less harsh.
Yeah.
Like when we only knew 4 events, I feel like I was much happier than most people.
Yeah. Lucy, you're not going to be hated. You will be beloved for it. Don't worry. Tia's not going to be here forever. You got a long runway.
Like Tia's the only one who might not like you.
Yeah. But, do better. When this went down, like usual, I really enjoyed it. It was a fairly easy thing to call. The loops help. The row is okay. I don't know how much the row really changed anything. It changed some people's position coming off the row, but I'm not sure positions changed coming off the row.
It didn't do anything, I don't think.
That said, I mean, it's in there. Right? I mean, look, last year
this was a softball. This was a softball toss. We needed it.
No different than a Wonder X back squat, right? Like we got to get in this modality. We got to train something long, especially if you look at the totality of the weekend and the other type of time domains we're working in. It's one of those necessary evils that you have to have the CrossFit Games. I didn't mind this whatsoever.
I think it was a cooler way than having just a straight 10K. Like with the 6 mile run, you throw a little rowing in there. It really is not going to change it all that much. Just like if they were running a straight 10K, you wouldn't have that many shuffles. You get people pacing the way they need to pace. This was for the most part, single modality. We needed something long. We knew we would have that. I think this was a, once again, very easy pitch to throw out what we needed at the games to start it off.
Yeah.
And it's the one time we were outside, so it's like, let's get outside, and then we'll get everyone inside after that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they were still able to do something outside. I thought the viewing of it, not just on like the big outdoor jumbotron outside the arena where people were watching, but kind of this amphitheater type feel for the spectators to at least see people run up that berm or hill or whatever at that point, and then being able to look down on them rowing, being able to kind of see people coming to the rower and count, okay, they've got a 10-second lead on them. Okay, they've got a 20-second lead on them. And yeah, I don't think the row changed the outcome too much, but what was cool about it is that like Roman got there later and got off the rower first. And that was at least like, oh yeah, Jeff's gonna have to work a little bit, but he should
it took Jeff what?
A
mile and a half to catch him.
Well, dude, he ran the last 2 miles in a 5:37. Like
bro, I want to know what that course really was, because like
they measured it at 6 miles exactly on Sprague.
Really?
3 times.
Sprague had a whatever Garmin or whatever tracker, and it said it was 6 miles exactly.
Damn.
And he averaged 6 minutes per mile the first 4 miles. Roman was 6:08. Like it wasn't far off, or 6:02. He was 8 seconds behind, so 6:02. Which is pretty insane, I think. I think that's more insane than anything else. But Roman, I felt like Roman actually made this event exciting, way more
Mhm.
exciting than I thought it was. Not that it was like the greatest, but
Yeah.
there was a second there, and I told JR, I was like, hey, Roman might get him because they were only 8 seconds apart, and he was 17 seconds ahead after the row. Like Jeff had to put on, like I said, 5:37 2-mile pace
Yeah.
to beat him. I mean, that's
Well-
just all the props to Jeff.
Hell yeah. And then to hear Jeff say that he wanted to quit at the turnaround on the second run, like he was about to give up. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
waited till event
Yeah.
3 for that, but yeah.
Yeah. So to have that in your head at the turnaround and then nut up for a 5:37, like that's a huge mental iron. So,
And what I think
I
for
guess
me
that's-
is a little bit sneaky about this workout. And just because we kind of went through them yesterday, we have to appreciate this workout as being a leg test because as we're going to see, there's only 68 squats in the entire workout, in the entire competition. And just putting this one in the bucket of legs is important. And you're going to feel it the rest of the weekend. So that's good.
There you go. That's why we got it there. That's a great point that we will touch on in a little bit too, because there are other things over the course of this weekend that also fit that bill.
Yep.
That it, whether or not you want to dock something later, but it is a talking point of how it doesn't. It's like testing strength doesn't always have to be with a barbell. You can test strength with gymnastics. We saw that with the alpaca. Strength was tested with kettlebells, sled pushes, and upper body pulling.
Right.
Anything on this one?
No,
I think it did what it needed to do.
totally.
Okay. None. Event 1 survived. All right, event 2. Wall walk buy-in, 20 reps, and then this weird chipperish deal that was 10 shoulder overhead, 20, 30, and then 20, 10, 20, 30, 20, 10. So it actually did do this little chipper format with a buy-in. I just didn't know how to categorize it. Short time domain, 6 to 8 minutes. This is usually a time frame of your top 10 athletes in every heat. I realize that some people were more than 10, but when we talk about the stimulus that was programmed to be this shorter sub 10 time frame is what we have. Moderate volume, lightweight, body weight, heavy on the dumbbell. You had a little bit of everything in here. You had a mixed modal monostructural weightlifting gymnastics. In fact, I think there was one mixed modal event every day. Which I thought was cool. Also cool, we'll look back at how some of these couplets were put together. I think the biggest question was once we figured out how the flow went, because it was such a chaotic, it seemed at the beginning, or the reason why you would put 20 wall walks to start. For this one, once it went down, watching how hard people went or had to go on the wall walks to stay competitive because there really wasn't too much room to catch people unless it was on the toes to bar. I was more surprised about how the toes to bar affected people on the floor than I think anything else. I don't know about you guys. Like people were, some went, very few, maybe one or two went unbroken.
I don't think any went unbroken.
I don't think anyone did on the second 30.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I saw Tia break so many times. I was shocked by that.
Because I was like,
And she's still coming down again.
I mean, I was not. I don't think I was alone in this thinking. I was like 30 toes to bar twice. It's only 60. Everybody's doing this unbroken. So where's the gain? Is it just going to be who messes up on double under crossovers?
No, the second set of 30 toes to bar made a huge difference. I mean, me and JR were counting people, and we didn't see anybody that went unbroken.
Yeah, I don't remember anybody on the second set. Maybe a handful on the first. I think Tia might have done it on the first set.
Do you think that was because they needed to do it that way, or because they were prepping for that dumbbell at the end? Because you had to be able to go hard on that last dumbbell.
I don't think they were prepping for anything. I think they all just went until the wheels fell off, and then they thought they could do the dumbbell
Like,
no matter
look
what.
at Tia's form on the second round, and it looks like I do on toes to bar, where I do like there's that little hitch, knee tuck, and kick of the. I'm like, we've all been there when you're at max capacity toes to bar. Seeing that after only 30. I think the wall walks dramatically affected people's ability to stabilize the dumbbell over their head.
Totally.
And that core stability from the wall, like the intensity of the wall walks, I think put people in a place that maybe they were not prepared for unless they had practiced this beforehand. all that said is like, I didn't hate the buy-in.
No,
for the
I think it
wall.
added to it.
I think the digital counters, like many of the other workouts, are like the MVP of the competition.
digital
They saved the
Amen.
wall walks, they saved the parallel handstand push-up, they saved the calories. Like, I
The
mean, if
back
you don't
squat.
have those, like the back
Yeah.
squat, not just having the attempt, but the previous like make
Right.
like was great.
Yeah.
Like they were great.
That's a good point.
This was the one that when I saw it written down, I'm like, this is stupid. Like this was by far, I thought, the dumbest of all the workouts that was written, and it was way more fun to watch. Like this was one of those ones that like wait and see what happened, Chase. Like your wait and see what happened things.
Yeah.
The race took this mess of an event and
Mhm.
just made it really cool and really strategic and really you could try to see people trying to maneuver in and out of what they're trying. Like it was way better than I thought it would ever be. Way
When I
better.
look at some of this will be a theme as we get deeper in, but you look at event one, you're like, okay, that's just pure aerobic capacity. This one, I think skill with the double under crossover was the element here because of everything. Like this was hugely skill, because if you couldn't do it, like if you're doing singles, like you're out. You broke 2 or 3 times, you're out.
Yep.
Execution and skill in this one was a big linchpin for this event.
See, and that's why I think that it was important for them to announce it early enough so you can actually still have a race on it. Because what's the race? We're trying to test that shoulder stability. We're trying to see what that shoulder strength is and that capacity is. Not like, okay, can you do all that, but we're not going to be able to tell because you suck at double unders.
Yeah.
You know?
What's funny, you talking about the wall walks mattering. It looked universal that the first 20 double under crossovers was everybody's worst set.
Yeah.
Everybody
they had to
tripped
find
like
the groove.
3
Yep.
times before they
Yep.
could finally get it. And then those improved as the workout went on.
I mean, when Jeff Adler's talking about the dumbbell giving him fits,
He's not strong anymore. I don't think you could say, pick a different name. Pick a different name.
all right. How about Tia's last set of 10 versus Daniel Brandon's last set of 10, right? Like you just watching people not, right, unless you had supreme overhead position. So Daniel Brandon is one, what Justin Medeiros looked like with the overhead. So you had to have that. I mean, throw that in as another thing that's being tested here is like, you would think you use a dumbbell with one arm better because you don't have the best overhead position, but that wasn't the case because you might be able to do it better, maybe instead of a barbell with 2 hands in that position. But if you had that ability, you were well ahead the rest of the pack in terms of ability.
And telling them that they could not touch it with the other hand, I thought was awesome.
That was huge.
That was such a big deal because you can tell exactly who trains solely going with a single arm and not touching, or the ones that are trying to protect the shoulder when it comes down. If they were not used to that, that was a
that messed up aerial a good amount.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's curious is I'm pretty sure Danielle and Justin both went right arm the entire time.
The whole
Really?
time. 10,
The
10,
whole
10.
time.
whole
They didn't
time?
switch
Yeah.
at all. Yeah,
One
right
arm.
arm the whole time.
Wow. I mean, shoot, if it's that different, I'd probably do it. My left arm.
It was successful for them.
Yeah. All right. Anything on this one?
I agree with everything that you all said. I will deduct it 0.1. I just didn't like it. No good reasoning.
I thought it was just kind of weird. I thought it was a good workout. I thought it was a good race, but it was this odd.
It gives you the ick.
It was this odd. I'm racing at the beginning, and then a lot of people said the first set of double under crossovers and shoulder overhead were the hardest of the whole workout. So then you have this like hard part in the beginning, and then it gets easier, and then it gets harder at the end. It's just kind of odd. I mean, the only thing I didn't like about the way it looked was that you just had to bring your equipment with you, and then you were like, okay, are you about to start the jump rope? No, never mind. You're just going to put it there because you got to come back and do the toast bar.
Got it.
Like,
And some people would put their rope at the totem bar, and some people would put their rope at where the dumbbell was.
As far as the workout goes, like I thought the stimulus was great. I thought everything mattered, and that's what I liked the most about it. Is that initially I thought it's really just an execution of the crossover double under, but you could see people that were comparable on that movement that actually were separated by other stuff, which was cool.
Yeah. John, I recognize your 0.1 for not liking it.
And I'm good with 0.
Yeah.
I'm good with majority
yeah.
0.
And I was
For me,
saying,
it'd be
in terms
0.1.
of programming, won't put it into play.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Event 3, pegboard squat clean. We have to take out. You guys got to detach yourself.
I don't think we can.
You have to.
It's a part
Yeah,
of it.
you can. No.
And it's not a part of
Yeah,
it.
you can. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about what it was or what ended up happening at the end of it. But we're talking about what the programming
So we're
is.
judging it for what it was supposed to be.
When we do just this.
And what it was for a lot of people.
Half.
Oh, no, not
Well,
half.
I mean, we'll get to all of the extra stuff at the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Pegboard squat clean. Dave talked about this one a lot. He said it's going to be his favorite one of the weekend. It's going to stop people in the tracks. I think it did for a variety of reasons. Not much of it was for the barbell. How did you guys like the complex once you saw it unfold on the floor?
The squat clean front squat.
Yes.
I have no issue with the weight or the complex at all. And like even aside, doing a weight to the pegboard, because I can put it aside, but I have no issue with the weight. Yeah, I have no issue with the weights or the complex. I like that it was 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, that last weight was heavy enough. I think that, you know, it could have been slightly heavier, especially I think the guys struggled more than the girls did, but the pegboard should have been more for the guys. Like, I feel like it was a different workout for the guys than the girls. The pegboard, I think, should have been 5, 4, 3, 2 instead of 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
And with I mean, the happenings aside, because all of your good guys could go unbroken on that pegboard, right? James did, Jason did, Ricky should have, Dallin should have, you know what I mean? Like, and I think they would all tell you, I can do this workout unbroken.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case for any of the women, except Tia, maybe, right?
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. We'll see this later too. It was interesting to see when they decided to split the volume between men and women and when they didn't for close to some of the similar things.
It was interesting, and they just adjusted caps instead of adjusting volume, which was very interesting.
What do you think about that?
I'm not used to that. There was actually a couple times that I looked at the monitor and was like, oh, the women get 5 more minutes, or the women get 2 more minutes, or whatever. I am with John. I know this workout was supposed to be about the pegboard just because of the loading. I mean, it's clear. That being said, I think it should have been 5, 4, 3, 2 and 4, 3, 2, 1. And then with the 4, 3, 2, 1, I think the female loading should have been a little bit heavier still.
Okay. I would say I'm with you guys. My only thing I'm sad about, and I can bring the pegboard thing in because it's not programming related. It's just the way it was going down in the weekend. It's like saying the grass for the sled push. Like, I'm not putting that in the programming realm, right?
You're fine. It's unique though.
Yes. I would say this was one of the only events where I was bummed I didn't get to see the full-blown potential with everybody on an equal playing field when it came to the pegboards. Because if this was the way, I mean, it's the same pegboards they've always used in any competition they've ever brought them out for. It's the same ones.
I don't think it's the equipment's fault.
I don't either. That's where how amazing. I think the weights would have felt different because of if those guys and girls were just like every one of them, not every one of them, right? Your top 10 are all going unbroken on the pegboard. All of them.
And only like 3 did.
And exactly, right? And so then those barbell weights are much different feeling than they were when you're doing one and then just shaking it out. So I don't think we got the full expression of what this could have been because of that. I don't hold that against the programming whatsoever. But the rep scheme thing, maybe coupled with the weight, I would say a 0.1. I don't know what you want to label it as.
I would say no more than a 0.1. I think as far as how it's written, maybe a little bit. Like, would you guys have felt higher to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or had them go to a little bit higher pegboard, like increase the height on it, so they're under the load longer time and go the 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like women go to one element and the men go a couple more things higher, something like that. I think that you could have taken something like that. I'll tell you, this event on paper was my most favorite. Like I was like, I wanted to do it. I love what it is. I love everything about it. And I am so bummed that it turned out the way it turned out. This was like the NCC of the games. And it bummed me out. But I mean,
it's a shame.
But it's well, I mean,
I think this would have picked your top 3 this would have been the event that was your best litmus
correlate to who
finished.
If it was what it was supposed to be, then you're right. I think it would have, and it would have been so fun to see.
I'm curious. Can you guys define for me what a 0.5 would be?
So 0.5
irrelevant movements, orders, imbalance of modalities.
Because I feel like 2 different stimuluses were had. I think it's a miss on the men's side. I think that what the women had is what the men should have been tested for, and I think it's a different test altogether. Now it turned into just, who's got the right pegboard? That's what it turned into. But if you saw the full potential, like I think, like you said, Chase, the top 10, I think there'd be 8 guys just neck and neck because the workout wasn't hard enough.
Yeah.
With the pegboard should be the limiter.
Would that be the same as like if you do, like if we're doing ring muscle ups or something like that? That the men do 30 and the women do 24,
25, 24.
Something like that
It kind of depends how it plays out, you know, because if the men start struggling but their times are faster, that's a different thing altogether than, you know, the women had a different workout. Like if the women just struggle a little bit more, you know, it's that, then I'm for you. But I do think it's a missed stimulus.
Well, you know, here's the deal too. And I've heard people talk about this. Either you care, or you don't care that the 2 sexes get the same stimulus. But this is where it's an issue if you don't care.
Right.
On the men's side, it was more of a deadlift workout. On the women's side, it was more of a handstand workout. So, and that's fine.
We're not on that one.
That's right. That's fine. But if you look at this workout, you look at this workout, you need to account for that. So because this workout was so skewed to the pegboard for the women and maybe a little bit more balanced for the men, then we go to this other workout and now you're starting to see the totality of the programming swing into one direction. That's where it becomes an issue, I think.
I'll throw a 0.1 in there for that. I think that's a good point. I'm in the camp of I do care about that.
Well,
and
I think
I mean, some people don't because they're not competing against one another.
Well, I mean,
I completely understand that point. They're not competing against each other, so what does it matter? I get that.
But to his point, I think he's saying there's some workouts where it's fine for them to have a different stimulus. And then there's some workouts where, no, this needs to be the crux of the workout for everybody.
Okay.
And like that deadlift handstand walk workout's such a marathon in itself. It's just different. The sexes tend to, the other things just end up mattering more, but it's longer, right? It's like that where this one, I think it's more important, especially if you look at all of the programming, that pulling is the crux of the workout.
Right.
And I just think it wasn't for the men.
That's fair. I like that point better. Not that you guys were making bad points earlier. That the way that's articulated makes a lot more sense, right? Oh, this was a little bit longer for the, men than it was for the women or vice versa. That's one thing, but like this was just a gymnastics event and this is a weightlifting event. That's where,
yeah.
Am I getting that point?
No, you're right. You're right. It should be that, okay, when the workout was developed, you knew exactly what this was supposed to be. And it turned out being completely opposite between the two races.
Do you think that wouldn't have happened if they had good pegboards? I don't want to say that they
No, I don't think it's a peg. I just
that would have been the same thing no matter what.
I almost think the pegboard issue made it not as big of a deal as it should have been. Because I'm telling you, all top 10 men would go unbroken, and then or very close to. So like what Hopper and James look like, you'd have 8 guys look like that.
Right.
And then you're like, the women don't look like this. Like Tia might be the only one that looked like that. Right. And then everybody else, they don't, it's a completely different test.
Yeah.
And so I almost think the pegboard thing kind of bailed Dave out a little bit in terms of this point.
Got it. Am I doubling up on the points though? If the pegboard reps are a 0.1 and that also relates to the stimulus? Is this?
I think it is kind of saying the same thing. I will say this: if I know that only taking a 0.1 off feels like it's not enough of a miss for this, but I think that the miss will happen when we get to the end and we're doing the overall.
Okay. I also think how much time we're circling around this. This isn't a 0.5. You know, like this was screwed up.
Sure.
Yeah, I think 0.1.
That's why I was asking for the
definition. I think just one of them is good.
Just one of them. Okay.
Because I thought 1.0 was this.
1.0 is when the event is.
It shouldn't
like,
be there.
You just get rid of the event.
Okay.
Right. A 0.5 is like, hey, this is a big mistake, but we got the job done anyways. We may have one of them. Okay. Event 4. 5 rounds for time, 40-meter run on the runner, 12 deadlifts with an axle bar, 350 to 220, 100-foot handstand walk, except on the last round where they added an extra 50. Outside of like, hey, here's the twist. I love this version so much better than the first one. Even if it's just an added 100, I love that it just makes it a little longer. And adding a last 50 feet on the end for the final round was great. I was so worried they were going to do some little down and back and run all the way down. I want to see people finish on their hands. I didn't want to see like a micro shuttle run for the first 50, like 25, 20. I'm really glad that this was the version that we got. And I think it was necessary because I think without the extra 100-meter runs, which, you know, people might not think is a big deal, and that extra handstand walk, that pushed us way closer to a time domain that we were really lacking on the course of the weekend. Like this fringes on long to me. 16 to 18 with games athletes. Like if I did this event, this would take me 30 minutes. I probably wouldn't even finish it. There's deadlifts in here.
Dude, 60 deadlifts at 350. Like people have talked about like, I don't think the games was heavy enough. And I say, are you on crack? You need everybody who thinks there should have been more weights because they didn't clean 365 to this games.
Right.
You need to do this event. Do this event in full and go and do like 10 wall walks for the handstand walk. If you can't handstand walk, and then come back and tell me that the games wasn't heavy enough.
Lucy, the road runner meant you couldn't go off your assault run pace either. So that was a bit of an unknown. That's a good point. We did have a new piece of equipment there. Not all runners are built the same. The thing I liked the most was if you watched the event at its maximum intensity, that was plenty of distance on handstand walking. 100 was fine. 500 became a lot, especially when you threw in another 50. I think with all the noise around this, Dave nailed this one pretty damn good.
100% made this change on the spot, though.
Dave swore to me.
He did not have this prepared. I don't.
Well, listen. He said on the weekend review, he knew he needed to change it after he reached out to people and had people at those camps that were not competing test it, and he realized it was too short. And I think that shows that like a ton of lack of ego and a willingness to just put the test before yourself and say, hey, it's one thing for those guys on Sevon's show to lose their mind and tell me that it's underprogrammed and that it's too fast and that there's not going to be anything between the 15 and 60-minute time domain, which they were right. It's one thing to say, I don't want to listen to those guys, but it's another thing to say, oh yeah, maybe I do need to tweak this a little bit because I need him to go a little longer. I mean, I think it was great and I think it was the right call. And this for me is my favorite workout of the weekend, this one or maybe running Isabel, just because I think everything mattered. And I think in an MWG workout, when everything matters, it's just beautiful. It's just really good. I do still think it was more of a handstand walk for the females, more of a deadlift workout for the males, which is okay. But at the tippy top, Miss Lucy showed
Bro.
me doing the deadlifts unbroken is what allowed me to win. And that's awesome. That's awesome.
Dave has in years past always made up to the minute changes. Like that's not an uncommon thing.
Dude, he
But-
changed the final like 30 minutes before we did it. What, in 2011?
Yeah.
It's like,
So,
here's the new final. I'm like,
oh,
you're starting in 10 minutes.
so like the fact that there was a change, if like to say, I mean, you want to say that like there's no way the changes is that he's trying to change it up on the people, like to make them think that there was a little unknown and unknowable. But it very well could have been that it literally just happened right beforehand. That's not an uncommon thing to have had happen before.
How much do you guys like the fact that Dave went out and took the pulse on an event for the CrossFit Games and effectively made a better change because of it?
Love it.
Yeah.
Dude, I think this is, like JR said, I think it's a lack of ego, but it also made the workout better. It made it fit a time domain we didn't test. And that extra 50 feet actually makes a big difference. Hey, if this workout was the regular version of the workout, we might not get that moment with Lucy and Tia. Right. Straight up, Tia might be able to hold on for 12 minutes, right? Like it's that 15 minutes that she couldn't. Mm-hmm. And I 100% in lockstep with JR. This was my favorite event of the weekend. I think I almost think this would be the biggest correlate, Chase. For your top 10, but I like the idea of what you said as well, though I don't know which of the two would be better on that. I just think it's very well balanced.
Albany grip trip.
Yeah, and as far as performances go, for me, as fired up and like as I got watching Lucy go head to head against Tia, I think the clinic that Jay put on in just how to execute a workout that is 16 minutes long was unbelievable. Like the transition or lack thereof to just go right to the bar and start deadlifting, and immediately after the last deadlift kick up and jog over my axle bar to get back on the runner. Dude, it was beautiful. Like it was one of the like best displays of just workout execution I've ever seen.
Was this did it remind you of your yoke? As like an upgraded version of your yoke run that you had at yours at Syndicate, JR? It's that same type of thing where it's like you have to pace it right in the way that Jay did that.
No, I think my workout was a million times more boring, and it really just it was really just testing running capacity. No, I don't think you can even compare the two. I think this is a way better workout.
There was a moment for Lucy. I know we're all. We know the handstand walk moment, right? That was epic. There was a moment, I want to say this might have been after the second or third first 50, where Lucy would get to the handstand walk first and Tia would pass her on 50 feet. There was a moment where Lucy finished just ahead of her and she was about to put her hands on her knees, but Tia kicked up. So she just skipped her knees and went straight to the ground. Did you guys see that?
No,
that was awesome because she was doing she was ready to go for her knees. Tia kicks up. She's like, "Fuck it, all right." So she just like skips past her knees and puts her hands on the ground. That was
gosh, take it, Tia.
Yeah, just take a breather. All right, let's talk about the top 10. So for the men, you've got 1, 2, 3.
It's everybody except Callion.
Yeah.
Who's number 9? We got to trade number 9 for Callion right now.
Oh, where's Roman?
Oh, freaking Roman.
Roman got a 15. So
trash.
9 of the top 10 were in the top 10. How about Callion Souza's
super impressive, and
right?
he held the fastest run out of everybody. He was holding 8.0. I don't know if you guys could see. I'm just like running back and forth, looking at the paces that they're holding.
Oh, were you?
yeah, the whole time.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, Jay's at 7.3, James at 7.6, and then Jay like kind of stayed in the 7s. James was increasing his speed as the rounds went on. Grace was running faster than Jay was. Gracie Walton for the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. She came out hot and then
blew up crazy. But
That was round 3. All right. See, I knew you. I saw you. I saw you do that. I would love to hear your take on that. Yeah, this has got to be the best correlate for the weekend.
Well, let's see what climbing couplet is like. It's a good one, but
Climbing
yeah, oh
couplet,
man,
ooh,
yeah, it's way
no.
better than.
Yep, no.
Oh, gosh.
That's great. That's great. I got nothing on this one, guys. I'm with you. This is probably my favorite event of the weekend in terms of programming, in terms of athletes, performance, the excitement that came out there. Oh, John, I got one for you. You ready? Although you're probably the wrong person to ask this question to. Maybe I'll ask JR. And then I'll follow up with you.
Okay.
Is Callian's performance the most impressive South American male performance at the CrossFit Games versus Guy?
No, because even though there was like 200 points on running and heavy cleans and a sprint and a max snatch, I still think Guy's performance that year is more impressive.
Okay. John?
I think if you get into the top 10, no matter how you do it, it's more impressive.
Oh, look at you, John, growing up in front of our eyes. Also, congratulations to John being unblocked by Dave Castro for the first time in 2019.
Yeah, it's pretty. I feel like a different guy.
I always get nervous. Sometimes this happens, but you'll look at your stories and I'll see that Dave Castro looked at my story, which is scary because he follows no one. So I'm like, I should probably be careful about what I put in my stories on Instagram. All right. Event 5, 1 max back squat. That was awesome. Super fun. This is the event that was the strength single modality. All right. So we hit the
run.
Row, yeah. That. Then we had the back squat. We had the skills execution test. We've got a couple mixed modal tests. I don't know how much else you guys want to expand on that other than how awesome it was to watch Colton Mertens put
Unreal.
on a and Miriam Von Rohr.
I don't think Miriam gets enough credit.
Dude, she had, what did she get? 7th?
Yeah.
7th?
Dude, in 360. 360 is wild. I mean, I know she had done it in the past, but it's still after a whole bunch of events to do that much weight. What was funny about her, she had.
Oh, we lost your mic.
You got me still? You got me?
On your computer.
Okay. Can you hear me enough for me to say
We
this?
can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had a sheet of paper and she 100% did not know pounds at all. So she had this sheet of paper that would just translate kilos or pounds to kilos and then what colors to put on. And then it took her maybe twice the amount of time it took anybody else to put on plates. But then she would get it situated and she just like diligently looked. She put one plate on, look at her paper. Like it was so funny to watch it. But
that's great.
Yeah.
This right here for all you other events out there is the only time at the only event that you should have a 1 rep max anything. Yeah. Perfect.
It wasn't
the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
CrossFit Games.
Another Olympic lift. So thank goodness for that. This turned out great.
This was way more fun to watch than I thought it would be.
Minus everybody trying to decapitate themselves, bailing a back squat forward, which I have no room because that's what I do too. But it's a little different with safety straps underneath you. Like,
I do want to say there are some people who are so dumb in how they make their jumps.
There were some interesting jumps out
dude,
there.
Like, I don't know how these people are as strong as they are and they don't know how to lift weights. Like it's just crazy to me. Moritz Fiebig went 445 on his first squat.
Yes.
And he did it easier than I could have done 315. And then he did 485, looked a little bit tougher, but still plenty of room in the tank. And then he went to 530 and failed. And now at the time, 500 was the highest lift by Bronislaw. Moritz knew, like, that was it. That's all he had. Moritz knew this number. 515 ends up being third place. He goes from 485 to 530.
Yeah.
And then fails.
That was interesting. A 40-pound jump to a 50-pound jump.
Crazy. And then Austin, good grief. I know you're from West Virginia, but you have to be smarter than this. It's like he hits 500 barely. Like it looks so much harder.
Honestly, after that one, I'd be like, I'm good with 2.
If you told me that he did that for 2, I would not believe you the way 500 looked, right?
Yeah.
And then goes to 525, and he barely hit 500, and then fails 525. And nobody thought, I don't know how you think you're going to do that after 500 looks like that.
Yeah.
I don't care what the plan was. I don't care what happened in practice. 500 feels 20 pounds heavier to you than normal. You don't go with the plan. You go up 10 pounds, right? And then he ends up going down, hits 515. But just some people learn how to lift weights. You're so good. You're so strong. And you're just so dumb when it comes to weight. And it goes for a lot of people. I only named 2. There was 15 of y'all that are just ridiculous.
That's true. Sagan, I thought this was a programming show. Well, we'll get to it. Whoever you are. He, she. Leave us alone. All right, guys. Now this 6 and 7. Throttle up, hammer down. There's a scoring element to this that I want to touch on, but that will be post-programming.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I have stuff for this at the end. Okay. So I got some stuff saved up for that. But programming, all right. Throttle up, 35 cal ski erg, 28 chest to bar pull-ups, 24 burpee box jump overs. All with a 22 and 16 pound vest. Time cap 6 minutes, rest until the 7-minute mark, and then hit the next one. 35 cal concept 2 bike, 28 bar muscle ups. 24 burpee box jump overs to finish again, this time without the weight vest. I like the sprints. The weight vest is fine. My curiosity here is that why did we not change the cals for women? Because I think the men were doing a different race than the women were because of it. Just the way they can move machines for both. I loved the way the boxes were set up on the competition floor. I thought the 8 out there and just watching people race across the floor, like anybody tuning in can see what's happening, what's going on. It made it fun. Bit some people in the ass with jumping over the box too soon. But yeah, how do you guys feel about this back-to-back? I guess you can touch on the scoring system because that's stimulus-related points allocated. But
back-to-back, I think it was terrible. I don't like that you have one event that's going to, exactly affect the very next event, especially when they're very, very similar like this. And they are very similar, especially when I'm sure the stuff you have, Chase, is like how many people are scoring virtually the same versus how many were having a big difference. Because I looked at some of that stuff too. Like if you take one of them and then you look at what the race is, it's like, okay, cool. But why are we virtually doing it again?
Yeah.
And that's the problem that I have with it. So like it's hard to, if you look at just 6 alone, okay, cool. I understand the ski erg thing, but you're looking at a sprint, but we've always done that when we're working on a machine that the calories are going to be different from men to women so that you can keep that same stimulus. I don't know if they're just deciding not to do it because that's kind of the theme of the year this year is that they're not changing anything. Everyone's going to be doing exactly the same. Yeah. Fine. But as far as what it is on 6, it's fine. As far as what it is on 7, fine. But it's how you put them together that really, I think, that's where there's the issue. Because you could take one of these out and basically, I think we're testing the same thing.
I would rather add them together than take one away. And I think that would have helped tremendously with a stimulus that we didn't do over the course of the weekend, right? We did a lot of short. several on fringe sprint intensity. Having this as a combined event, I think would help offset a little bit of those sub 5-minute endeavors on the weekend.
Combine the scores, or just make it where you do the
like
first
you
one,
can
you
still
shred,
make
you
it. Well, here's the thing,
throw
like
the
if you
vest
make
off
it,
and do the next
it's
one.
not technically, it's not an interval based event because it's scored separately.
No, right.
Right? So you can't really put them together. Otherwise, this would be look, it takes you 3.5 to 4 on part 1, 4 to 5.5 on part 2. You're reaching towards that 8 to 10 minute time frame, even with rest in between. And then you could have changed the time cap and changed the starting position, but that's where I see part of this. And from a programming perspective, that said, is like, dude, we had some awesome races, and it made a big difference. Let me say this. It made a big difference on one side of the aisle between men and women at the end of the weekend, how this was put together and scored.
I actually think it wasn't super similar.
Half of the field on both the men and the women were basically got the same score.
Look at the leaderboard, dude. Look at the leaderboard.
Yeah, I see a 3rd place in one, and then a 20th in the other, and then
Okay,
a
don't-
4th
okay,
to 7th,
don't-
a 5th to 11th, a 6th to 15th, a 7th
Okay.
to 30th.
Okay, don't pick out the 5 outliers and pick out.
Right.
Look at the top 10 and look at it.
Yeah, I'll go straight down the line. Yeah, and these guys are the fittest guys in the world, dude. I bet Matt Fraser looks like that too.
Half the
But
field
you got-
got within 4 places of each other between the two events. Half the field on the men and the women virtually.
And okay, how many of those places are middle of the pack that did that? If it's 8 of the ones that you're saying, then the ones who sent it in the beginning paid for it, and the other one likewise the other way around. If you get a 12th and a 14th, then you just kind of paced each one appropriately.
Or it was testing a similar thing, and you're that good in the field comparatively on the same thing, 12th and 14th.
I would argue, though, you guys are pointing out everybody that did the same amount.
No, it's not
tried
the
to
same
crush one and didn't crush the other.
No, there's about
You just said
6.
half.
There's
So
like
that means the other half.
No, it doesn't mean the other half. I'm not talking 4. I'm talking if you within 4 places, or even if you go 10 and more places split, you're looking at like 5. You're looking like 6-ish on each side, or that split. Yeah, about 6 on the field, and that's 6 to
place
8
difference.
No. There's 6 athletes on the men, and 6-ish on the men, and 6-ish on the women that are a 10-place split, like a Colton split.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How much of those 6 are the
29th and
top
13th,
people?
25th and 5th, 23rd and 16th. Now that's 7. 20th and 6th, 17th and 8th, 15th and 4th, 14th and 26th, 12th and 25th, 10 and 17th, that's 7, 7 and 30, 6 and 15th, 5th and 11th, 3rd and 20th.
And I see the 12 and 14s. I put that in the same boat when people get a 12th and a 14th. Like you didn't push the pace in the first one, and then you tried to push the pace in the other one, and you didn't recover well enough. I get what you all, I get it, but I don't think it was as similar as people think it is. It is similar, but I don't think it's testing the exact same thing. I think the first one, you have to ski as hard as you can. I think the second one, you're not biking as hard as you can. It's way more about the bar muscle ups than it is the machine. I just try to look at it from that perspective. It's more than you think that had way different responses, or right down in the middle on both of them. I look at right down in the middle of both of them the same as a 5th and a 25th. The ones where you're like, this tests the exact same thing is if you're like 7th and 7th, 1st and 3rd, right? And there are a couple of those for sure. But I don't think I think the other back-to-back tests that we've had are way more like that than this one.
So these are within 3 points for the men, 3 places, 30th and 27, 28, 28th. I mean, I think it's easier to suck at both than it is to be good at both.
And these guys are just unfit.
24th and 21, 22nd, 24, 21, 23, 19, 18. Doesn't matter. You're outside the top 20. 13th and 10th for Medeiros.
Yeah.
V-Big 8 and 9. Pepper 4th and 7, 2nd and 1st for Ricky, 1 and 3rd.
In my opinion, that was way less people than what you just pulled up, Chase.
It's not anymore, at the very least, right? It's a bit split.
And
I
you
am.
just-
I
y'all
am
just
more.
told me-
Here's the thing, John. I'm more.
I think there's there's a lot here, especially when you want to try to assume the athlete's effort level is ridiculous. So saying they didn't try as hard on one of them and just assuming that
No, pace
using it. Wait a minute, John, just let me talk. You don't know that they sold out on one to do better on the other. You're assuming that based on their placing on the leaderboard, which I think is silly to do. Just to assume that, well, clearly they were saving it to do better on the bar muscle up because they knew they couldn't ski as hard. I mean, I don't think we can assume any kind of strategy. All I'm saying is you look at it on paper, even though you see a bike, you look at it on paper, it's an upper body push-pull density workout. And it's twice, and it's not much different than couplet 2 and 1. It's not that much different than the back-to-back last year with the thruster bar muscle up, thruster chest to bar. Generally speaking, at the top, because that's who you always say we need to pay attention to the most, the people who perform well on one performed well on the other. Sure, there's, Jason didn't do great on both of them. Like he had a big split. But I just think in general, from programming standpoint, for me, you put the bar muscle ups first with no vest. You turn the bar muscle up on the second one pistol, and you put the vest on. You have bike, pistol, burpee, box jump over. You have a hard upper body into a hard lower body, and I just think you would get probably a little bit more variance.
Which would be 2 different races that way. Why look at the same basic movements?
If it wasn't
That-
200
that's the hard
points,
part.
again, it wouldn't. I mean,
I think that's where we're mostly getting the hang up on, is that it was so many points for something very similar.
It would be just like when we talked about Isabel, the heavy Isabel, racing the first 10 and then finishing the rest of it.
Yep.
That's all. I mean, it's 2 different stimulus. It's 2 different. Yes, sir. I get your differences for sure. But I just think that that just seems sloppy. That seems sloppy to me.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of variables, like, to John's point, there's a lot of variables too. Is it just a recoverability issue, or is it just that they're not good in that dense of an upper body push-pull scenario? Like, I don't know. It might be one, it might be the other. That's a big, I don't know, because saying like I was just out of breath and I couldn't breathe, or my legs were so blown up from the burpee box jump overs that I couldn't bike hard. Like that's a lot of stuff going on.
I think to use the bar muscle up thruster one from last year, if you look place for place, then it's an egregious thing to use. Place for place, the bar muscle up thruster one from last year, far more are more like within 3 places of each other, right? Like the Hatfield first. And I mean, and it goes down the line. It's like 7th and 10th, 12th and 14th, down the line. There is far more volatility in these 2 tests, regardless if they tested the same thing or not. It wasn't the exact same thing, or the exact same places would have happened. Like the bar muscle up thruster, go look at those back-to-back, go look at those placements, and look at this back-to-back and look at those placements. They're not the same at all. If you look at that, if it tested the same thing, they would be.
It's an easy fix. So why even have them remotely closed? Why?
I just don't. I think you guys
That's
are
not the point
reducing
Don's
it.
trying to make.
I don't think it was the same thing. It's just similar.
I think you should look at the top 10 of both.
Do it.
And not
look
the
at the
whole
top
leaderboard.
10,
I
JR. I already did, and it's different.
Okay, John. Listen, dude. You're not right just because you're the most passionate.
I'm not saying I am. I think you guys are closed off to this.
What I'm closed off to is making their 200 points on consecutive workouts where you see first and second, second and second, third and first. If they're very different tests, you don't get those. Like you don't.
I don't think.
I just think I think if you wanna do upper body pulling twice, great. No, do one on one day and one on the other. You don't have to do them on back-to-back workouts. It's like a double punishment or a double reward for me. That's like.
Would you guys care as much if it was 50-50?
No, I think it'd be great if it was 50.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think John is making a point that he is not wrong on. Right?
He's
not wrong on that, because look, it's ski versus bike. Those are not the same thing, and it's not even close. They're exactly the opposite from each other. And a weighted chest to bar pull-up versus bar muscle-ups are also so different. That said, stimulus-wise, they are the same type of event, regardless of what was the crux of that event, which is also true. Right. So
I actually think that the bike erg, if you can just hammer it going into the bar muscle ups and get a 2 or 3 rep lead, it makes it even more to the first workout, which was really whoever got off the ski first was.
Yeah, I think the ski was huge there.
If you can hammer the bike and get off, because there's no interference going to the bar muscle up. So if you can hammer it on the bar muscle ups earlier, you're probably going to be able to at least stay ahead until maybe the last few burpees. For me too, it is the machines, right? 5 out of 10 events, so 500 points out of 1,000 have a machine in them. If in this workout too, starting on a machine and not maybe putting it in the middle of one and starting it on the other, putting it at the end of one and putting it at the beginning of the other, it again leads to the same similar. It leads to a very similar stimulus, which I think leads to a very similar outcome. I am curious if you guys think the bar muscle up should have been less for women. If you think it was more of a separator.
I think
the
the cow should have been less. I think the cow should have been less and bar muscle ups too.
Yeah.
I would. How would you have liked? This is a reprogramming question. Never mind. We're gonna run out of time. All right. Scoring aside, this back to back, and we kind of have two different things because look, at the end of the day, we're looking at event 6, and we're looking at event 7 in bubbles right now. We'll bring the back to back discussion towards the overall. So if you're looking at them individually, how would you score?
I think we have
The
all
double
said.
stimulus comes later because these are
I know.
events.
I would say that probably 0.1. So as far as like making the women's calories,
Be consistent there.
just to be consistent.
So male to female stimulus.
Yeah.
For both. JR, John.
Can I ask a question? I feel like if you want to say it's the same stimulus, would event 7 not be 0.1 because we already tested it? Like if we tested a max front squat, would you penalize that because we already had a max back squat?
No, because we're not doing it combined yet. Right? We're looking at it in a silo. And so when we look stimulus, you're like the women got a different stimulus, just like the pegboard thing.
Okay.
That's
I understand that point.
Yeah.
I was just
now when it's all said, it's like, hey, all right, now let's look back. Okay, we're going to come back to the overall look of this scored event and the stimuluses that were a big bias in the weekend. Yes.
Did anyone figure out why they picked those numbers? You ever figure that out, Chase?
No,
yeah,
those
you
numbers
can do
are
a
so
0.1
weird.
just for the numbers.
Like I've been doing every sort of number sequence I could think of, and I can't figure out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a
Why
number
those
sequence
numbers?
or a timing thing.
I think that's the distance of the boxes that fit the length of what they wanted to do.
That's fair. Also fair.
Like that's no, seriously. Like I feel like it makes sense to go 35, 28, 21. And maybe when they put 7 out there was this weird gap at the end of the floor or at the beginning of the floor where they didn't have any boxes. They were like, all right, let's just add another box and add 3 reps.
Well, could have been, yeah.
My question is, can anyone help me understand? I completely understand not bounding box jump overs back and forth, but the burpee takes that part out of it.
Right.
Why didn't they just tell them you have to step off on all 24 or tell them they could jump off on all 24? Why did they have to jump? Why could they jump off 2 out of the 3 reps every time? But why did they have to step off for 2 and then could jump off for 1?
I honestly haven't thought about it till you said it because they're not rebounding.
No.
You're just going to let them go faster. And that's screwed. Not screwed, but those are the rules and people didn't apply the rules. And that's a good point. I don't know.
And Dallin and Lucy are the biggest,
Justin
losers in this. But Dallin, it potentially could have made a difference. It wouldn't have, but if he knew that it would have, it might have.
This workout is so much
points.
about intensity. Why blunt it by letting them jump off every third? I just wonder what the thought process was behind it. I mean, it will blow your legs up more to have to step off. Like when Boz did the quarters workout, I think he made everyone step off because it was almost like doing 300 squats versus 150 squats. But why not do it on all 3 reps every single
Yeah,
time?
because they're not going to get hurt. They're not rebounding a burpee into the floor.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Number eight. Event 8. 50-40 on the cows, which is so funny is that we didn't do the night before, but then the next morning we did. 100-foot yoke carry. I think it was like 565 and 385. 30 deficit handstand push-ups, 12 inches off parallettes for the men, about 10 and a half for the women. Yoke carry back, 50-40 cows on the bike. Is the first cows...
if we would have made the race 40, say 50.
The whole race was the
handstand
push-ups.
push-ups.
Yeah. Like, so I looked at the
Do you
splits.
need anything else?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, right? You've got all this stuff in here. It's clean. It looks good on the floor. Great. Sitting on a bike that long in the beginning wasn't great. At the end was way better. The digital counters that JR just brought up earlier was key for not just the bike, obviously, but for the handstand push-ups as well. If you just took people's handstand push-up split and ranked them on time, that was almost the exact order that people finished in. So this, when I look at it, regardless of all the stuff around it, this is the gymnastics test of the weekend. We had the strength test. We had the metabolic conditioning test in event 1. This is the gymnastics one. In terms of what was the determining factor of the success or failure in this event. More than the bar muscle ups in the previous event. Like, it was a handstand push-up event.
Would you guys say that after seeing the totality that the pegboard event probably should have been like the gymnastics most based event?
So I looked at that one as a great couplet with gymnastics and weightlifting, where if it was all done at maximum intensity, both mattered. Right.
Okay. I agree with what you're saying. Like, this is a handstand push. It made for really fun races, though, ironically.
Right. Jason Hopper did 50 cows at the end of in a minute and 30 seconds.
I think it was 125.
On our split, at least, timing chip wise. And then Dallon's not going to hear this, but Dallon was 131.
That's crazy. What was James?
James, he wasn't there. Roman was like 130.2.
Dude, to watch
Jason
all of
actually
them,
had the fastest split of the 3 of those.
to watch all of them get there within 10 seconds, and then everybody would take their belt off. It just got so serious all of a sudden.
Here's a question about that workout. Then, and I know how Bill feels about starting workouts with machines that don't matter. We know the work. I mean, I was concerned when the workout came out and we knew the deficit that we could just say, hey, let's just do 30 for time and see who wins. And the leaderboard's probably going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Having guys like Jason pass Jay and Ricky who beat them past the crux of the workout and then get beat because of the power output, the length of time.
Yeah.
Do you think the workout should have just been like 30 cows and 30 handstand pushups and 30 cows so that if the Austins and the Jays and the Rickies get there, there's not enough time for the bigger guys to pass them? Like, do you think that was a miss from a standpoint of, oh, the bike saved a lot of the people's handstand push-up capacity? Do you think that's what made the workout better because more of it mattered? Like,
I would say with the way it was designed, that's a great question. I would say in the way it's designed, I actually liked that the bike had an impact on the event. Otherwise, then I would just be like, this is all crap. What a waste of movements and programming, and let's just do 30 handstand push-ups for time.
If you would have had 30 and 30, there would have been a lot more people getting to failure quicker on the 30 handstand push-ups because now you have to be able to go and empty the tank on the bike. Like all of a sudden that bike, like you have to go full speed and you got to get there first, especially if you're one of the smaller guys.
But to John's point, like that's kind of why I bring it up. Let's just say that the pegboard and this were supposed to be the gymnastics limiting workouts.
Yeah.
Did the bike actually not allow that to happen? And it swung to another big guy workout.
I would say for the majority, the bike did not have that problem. But when we talk about saving places and making a move where you need to do, like the men, if you could save 4 points, it was worth like that type of effort and intensity in other places. I don't think there was enough. It helped some, and I don't see that as a bad thing because if you look at, there isn't a singular gymnastics test in the weekend like we've seen with monostructural and weightlifting, but we've had four that were heavy-handed with it. The pegboards were heavy-handed in their event. The handstand walks were heavy-handed event. These were heavy-handed, and the rope climb volume was also heavy-handed. So we may have not got an individual isolated gymnastics test, but I think gymnastics had more of an impact in more events than, say, the other two modalities. So since that's not the case, I'm okay with how I'm actually way happier how it went down than what it looked like on paper originally. Because I thought the same thing everybody else, like, oh, it's handstand push-up workout, period. Like, get rid of everything. And then the fact that those other things did have an impact, not all the way through, but for some people to take advantage of that. It's not easy to take advantage of a 50 cal bike when you're nearing the end of the weekend.
I think there's only a handful that can use that, though.
Right.
And I would argue they have to be at least decent on the handstand push-ups to even have a chance.
Right.
Yeah. Because we saw a lot of people that are great on the bike that it didn't matter because the 30 took them so long.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And I didn't hate, honestly, and I'm on team. I'm not a big buy-in guy. I didn't mind that buy-in.
The last person off the bike won most of the time. Like,
Really?
their heats.
That's usually how that works.
Well,
On this
yeah,
one- on
it's
this one
rarely the
specifically.
first.
I think that was actually one of my prop bets. That was one of my prop bets that I had.
I would say near the back, not the very last person, but like Colton did well. He was the last one. Austin did well. He was the last one. Tia was not the last one, so she bucks that mold. But
you guys
I don't know
think
how you guys
you guys think so? This is another situation of pegboard same, rope climb same, handstand walk same, deficit reps same. Do you think it should have been less deficit and less reps, or do you think it was just fine being 30 with less deficit?
So because of the bike, so the women were about 2 minutes slower than the men were.
all in the handstand push-ups.
And
Just-
they had and they had a bigger cap,
90.
right? They had more of a cap.
They had more of a cap and they had less cows. Could it been, say, 40, 20, 40 for the women?
I think that would have been better for the women. I do.
Because when you watch Tia do it, so Tia's time was, where is it? 8:51. Austin's time was 8:14. That's pretty damn close for your top performers, but that's Tia and Austin, and those are, Tia's Tia and Austin is good at that. Right?
That was
That was probably, I didn't need to say that.
that was terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
But the guys were, look, 8:15 to 9:30 is your top 10 spread. And the women is 8:51 to 11. Oh,
yeah, I don't mind that.
It's a 30-second spread in 1 to 10. That's pretty balanced considering the top 10 people on the dudes versus the depth on the women's field. It's pretty close. Would 20 be too little to have an impact?
Yeah, I've seen those
With only
times. I
30
like
seconds,
to
yeah.
keep it at 30.
With
I think
30
what we
sec-
just-
with a 30-second split, yeah.
I think what we just see a lot of times, unfortunately, is that with upper body push and pull, there is more separation to be had at the top on the female side than the male side. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
you know.
That's true. All right. Anything on this one?
I
I
bet
gotta
your bottom 10 times are a lot different.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of caps, so they're kind of the same.
see. I would say 0.5 on this one
Really?
because
what?
it just the whole beginning doesn't even matter. Like the yoke means nothing. Why even have it there at all? The buy-in in the beginning doesn't mean anything. It literally is two things. It's the handstand push-ups and the last bike. That's it. That is the entire race.
So what?
None
if
of
it's
the
like-
other stuff is remotely even that doesn't do anything. Nobody did anything on it. 0.5. It's not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad. This
This is one of those subjects that I know how passionate Bill is about, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to push back on him.
well. I mean, like, what did we get in the
That's
beginning?
a lot.
What did we get in the beginning?
Oh, you said 0.5. I thought you said 0.1. Sorry.
Yeah, 0.5.
I would say 0.1, man. That 0.5 is hard.
That's a lot.
Not really.
I thought it was a good event.
Yeah.
Now,
I was on team none.
Well-
So
Like I would invite
I'm
none.
watching the CrossFit Games. I'm watching the best of the best, and I see for the first whatever 3 minutes, everyone doing their bike and coasting down and walking and getting to the board and going.
The girls were 3. The guys were like 2.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't do 50 cals and 215 casually. I mean, I'm not Jason.
They're the best of the best.
Yeah.
Now, when it got to the last bike, yeah, cool, exciting.
Well, here's
Last handstand
it matter
push-up,
more
cool.
because of the fitness level of the athletes they're programming it for instead of just a local comp. Because a local comp, yeah, nobody's doing dick for the first half of this. But here,
I still think for them it was. I mean, fine. I'll go to 0.1. But
I'll roll with you
one,
and taking points away. But 0.5, the way it went down, I didn't see the egregiousness as maybe.
You're just talking about the 2 parts that counted.
You didn't watch this event and say, "Man, that was a miss."
Yeah,
I watched it and I'm like, okay, we're at the handstand push-ups. Cool. Now we actually get to see what's going on. And the tempo was slow because people were missing and people were trying to do whatever. And the people were like, please just get me off these handstand push-ups so I can actually do a race. And those that could got to the bike and actually, they didn't do anything about the yoke. They picked up the yoke. They just moved the thing. Not a big deal. And then they got to the bike and then they raced again. And you had the couple bike guys that were good at bikes. And then you had a little race there for the last like 20 seconds. Cool.
JR?
That's all
I was just saying, I'll give Dave some love in movement selection because can you guys off the top of your head tell me the last time parallel handstand push-ups were programmed in competition? CrossFit Games. CrossFit Games.
2018 Fibonacci.
18. Yeah, 7 years. I think that's way too long.
Damn, that was 7 years ago.
So like,
they really liked Laura.
I just really like that they brought this movement back because this is something that I kind of expect to see at this point at the semifinal stage.
It was nice to see a handstand push-up movement have a big impact on the event versus just how fast we do wall-facing handstand.
I'm not saying that I didn't like the event. I'm just saying that it was as far as like being written down.
Yeah.
I just think that there were a lot of pieces that weren't needed, and we had that in there. So I came down to the handstand push-up. I thought it was great that those were there. I think it was awesome. I forgot how many people couldn't kip like Alex, like Alec Smith used to kip that big straight-legged kip.
Oh,
any of those, you know. There were good races on the end, but I just think that there was a lot of like unnecessary pieces for sure. That's all.
All right, I felt like
I'll go with the 0.1. That's
in the middle there.
That's fine.
All right, we got 8 minutes. Event 9. This is the wildest event of the weekend. It seemed like some people would call this a group class workout. I disagree. You can do it in a group class workout. Every once in a while, you just got to throw something basic and simple and just see what the games athletes do. I was hoping we'd get this result when it went down, and we did in spades. And this was a devastating event, and there was so much on the line. If you'd have put this at event 2, I don't think we would have had the races we did. The fact that this was the second to last event, the last chance to have a massive fail going into the final, just the way this is put together, when they put it in the weekend, because event order does matter, regardless of who says that, which is Dave. It matters. And this was the perfect place to put this one.
I don't think Jason fails his last snatch if it's event 2.
I think everybody's 15 to 20 seconds slower on event if they put this at event any other time except on Sunday. 15 to 20 seconds. Easy.
This was the classic, like, if you think it looks like an easy workout, it will be the thing that knocks you on your ass harder than anything else.
And
like
both mattered.
Man,
it mattered.
It was insane watching how we don't usually see athletes go so deep into the barrel like that. Like seeing Jason Hopper just getting miss one, shot out the back. Like that was literally one of the coolest things to see, because then you know just how hot this event is on people.
How he saved that last snatch.
Crazy.
If he missed that, if he missed it for the third time, and there is no reason he should have been able to save it the way he did. Basically doing a PVC pipe pass through with 155 pounds on a barbell. That won him the CrossFit Games. That was Jason Hopper's moment. It wasn't. That might have been it, right? Is that the games moment where you guys, Dave always said, hey, this was the moment when I knew Justin was going to win. When Jason Hopper saved that snatch, I was like, he's winning the CrossFit Games. And I know it was for a 12th place finish. Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, I don't like it. I feel like he won the I feel like he didn't lose the CrossFit Games in that moment.
I see it. I hear you. But it's just a weird twist on that moment, right? That was awesome.
Yeah, for me, like that moment, as heartbreaking as it was to watch in the airport, it kind of told me that he wasn't trying not to lose. He was still racing and he was still being aggressive, which I think is great, because he could have easily just kind of throttled back and like said, hey, I'll just stay a little bit behind the lead guys in the pack and I'll take my 8th and I'll go into the finale with a little cushion and I'm good to go. The fact that he was still being aggressive and racing, I think, was awesome. But I actually will push back and just say that the mental state he was in after that workout, from what he texted me, to the quick turnaround and like getting done with the first round in the lead and being like, oh, he's going to win the CrossFit Games on the finale, and just being like, oh, he's just better at rope climbs than everyone else. It's pretty obvious. And breaking on the lunge when he could have just tried to make your call like the best call ever. He was just like, nah, I don't need to beat James and Justin. Let me just make sure I don't have a meltdown on these last 10 feet. Like, I thought that was very mature.
That let me compose myself too. I will say this. It wasn't that. So when I say Jace Howell is going to win the CrossFit Games because of that finish, obviously he thought otherwise. He said it before. I was saying, like, me watching that, because like when he failed the first one and didn't let go of the bar and then went again, was wild. Mm-hmm. Get put on his ass to rate, like he could have put on a hand on his knee and he's like racing back to the barbell again. Nobody would like.
You gotta understand how his body is feeling too. Like lactic acid galore everywhere.
I loved it. I don't know.
And I think programming wise, I think this was the most well programmed workout of the whole weekend. This one, it was perfect. Wow. The loading was perfect because on the last round, people had to go to singles, and that's what made the separation. And with 135-95 never happens. If 185-135, it's people are doing singles from the start. Like, this was perfect.
165,
really
115.
I was impressed.
When it worked. Yeah, that's a good point. The so what I like about this one, if you look back, so the other couplet we had, the pegboard clean complex, right? Short time domain, weightlifting and gymnastics coupled together. A grinder, not a sprint. This one, the couplet's now weightlifting and monostructural, and it's just a dead sprint. I like the balance between the couplets that they had a lot. All right. Final. Thrusters, rope climbs, ascending reps, overhead lunges. I think the ascending reps were huge to throw in here at the time. I think this would be a totally different, not a totally different event, but it was a grinder finish, which was great. Every time you see overhead squats at the end or an overhead lunge to the finish, regardless if you've seen it before, how many times, there's a reason why it's there. If it's overhead, if it's in the rack position, if it's from the farmer carry, whatever. It's so great, especially if you get a good race. The ascending reps, I think, were key to this event in particular. The rep schemes are great. The rope, I don't know. I really enjoyed that. And that movement combo and throwing 100-foot straight to the end, I think the weights were great. I really enjoyed this finale. I don't know about you guys. I would have liked more people to be finishing together at the end than maybe we had. It was a bit spread out. There's a couple instances where it was kind of close, just for more entertainment's sake. But
if you go back and watch the men, I mean, the difference between James and Justin is 0.3 seconds, and that's the difference between James getting on second and third. It's pretty insane.
Crazy.
Yeah. I thought the ascending rep scheme really exposed people that had poor grip endurance. I thought that if you would have done it the other way, people maybe could have hidden a little bit, but that really showed like who the best is on the rope or who are people that are just behind on the rope. I mean, 15 to 18 feet is real. For the totality of the programming with the heavy-ish stuff, like with the dumbbell, with the deadlifts, with the back squat. For me, with the 68 total squats, I would have really liked to seen this lighter. And I know maybe from a judging standpoint, it would have gotten messy, but I would have liked to see like 27, 21. I'm sorry, 21, 27, 33, 65. So you have more of a squat. You have more of a squat stamina test that you don't really have with something light. But again, I think the thrusters are just there to make the rope climbs harder. So I think it still did the same thing the way it was programmed.
Yeah. I got nothing.
I got nothing. It was fun to watch. I kind of feel like the overhead lunge was just kind of okay, now we did the workout. Now we'll let you slowly get to the finish because it's the finale a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, you can't run. You have to lunge.
Right. Like you guys did all the work part. You did all the race part. Now it's like, okay, now we get to slowly march you down and we do our grand.
I mean, if you did it wrong, that was a long lunge. I remember watching someone in heat 1, they broke like 7 times and got to the barbell first. I was like, that might have been a pacing mistake there.
No, it was a great final.
John?
Yeah, no, I have nothing. I feel like this is more of it's not, but it feels like you have to. It achieved what it's supposed to do. I think like emotionally, it was a little bit. It wasn't like the greatest finale we've ever had because of where people were. The James Justin thing was the biggest thing in it, quite frankly. Like what I'm saying, like I don't think the finale like made you stand up and be like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But all of that happened in event 9. And then as long as Jason didn't mess up, he wins, right? And the women's Olivia Kerstetter lunging to get 3rd place.
Dude.
Because she was like in 5th going into that event, but nobody was around her. It was either you, Chase, or JR that said he wished there were more people up front, like together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Tia was in a place by herself. Lucy was in a place by herself. And then Olivia was in a place by herself. There just wasn't a ton of drama at the end of it. But the workout was great. No complaints in the workout. I think it did what it was supposed to do. I have nothing.
All right. So we have 0.4 in total on programming. If you look at overall comp, the first place I'm going to jump to is 6 and 7. We spent a lot of time there. I would say a 0.5 for scoring. I don't know what anybody else has for that. As far as scoring is concerned, I think that was a big deal. Here's why. So you guys ready for this? On the women's side, so say we're like, hey, just combine them, right? So one way to do this is just you could take either your total time to complete, but there's so many caps that really wouldn't have worked too well. But it's like, where did you finish? You take basically open scoring. Okay, I got 1st and 3rd. I have 4 points, and then you give them points based off that. On the women's side, there are 0 changes if you score it like that. So at a net 0 effect on the weekend. For the men's side, Jason Hopper still wins the CrossFit Games if you do that. Ricky Garrard and James Sprague are 5th and 6th if you do that.
Wow.
And those are 2 of the ones that had the 2nd and 2nd.
They were the
1st and 2nd and 1st and 3rd.
Yep.
2nd place at the CrossFit Games is Austin Hatfield. 3rd place at the CrossFit Games, if you combine that, is Jay Crouch. Dallin still stays in 4th.
Poor Dallin.
So 5th and 6th move to 2nd and 3rd, and 2nd and 3rd move to 5th and 6th. If you combine the place finishes and then scored them after that. There was 0 change on the women, 0 change in the women's top 10.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's
But on the
wild.
men, you had 2 completely different podiums. So that's I have a 0.5 on scoring there.
If you go down the line, Chase, if you did, I don't know if you did or not. Were
By the way, this is all thanks to Barkley.
or Barkley,
Thanks, Barkley.
I don't know if you did or not. Were James and Ricky like the only 2 big movers, or were there other big movers down the line?
One other big mover was Nick Matthew. Would have improved 4 spots.
And then that was it.
That was a couple 1s and 2s. So there's 4 other athletes that moved 1 or 2 places. The bottom 2 switched on the men. On the women's side, the biggest mover would have been Claudia Gluck. She would have lost 3 spots, but the 3 people behind her all would have moved up 1. So that was really it. There's 1s and 2s. It was only the men on the podium where there's a 3 position swing.
Yeah. So I think, and we can get off of it. But I think why you guys are so hard on this is because James and Ricky were affected the most. After them, there's not a ton. And I would say that points to it not testing the same stimulus, whether I'm wrong or right. You know, that's that. I feel like that would point to that, but maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, I think for me, more so than the leaderboard, now that we have all the workouts up on the screen, the main issue I have with it, look at all the workouts. Okay, event 2 and event 3. We're not even going to include event 4 because for some people it was more of a deadlift or run workout. So 2 and 3, upper body stamina. 10, upper body stamina. 8, upper body stamina. Now 6 and 7, for the most part, 28 bar muscle ups are just a sprint with a ski. We can still concede that they might not be testing the exact same thing, but they still are testing similar stamina and movement. Like, so are we okay with 5 out of 10? Okay, maybe. Are we okay with 6 out of 10?
6 out of 10.
Like
Yeah.
that just feels like a lot. That's my biggest thing with it. Is that you already have half of the competition. And then for me, like the big thing, and I think this is just typical CrossFit Games, it's probably just a not having 10 a lot. 8 out of 10 workouts sub 10, 8 out of 10 sub 10, and 6 out of 10 sub 8. So I still think it kind of skews to the short side.
Yeah. I would put so do you want to look stimulus? What would you give that one with the time domains?
With the time domains, I think 0.5. I agree completely
0.5.
with JR. I think it
I think there's also a heavy upper body pressing bias.
I think it skews to the short side. You trade out one short workout for a 12-minute workout, 12, 15. I think that would help a lot.
But hey, John made a good point too after last year. Because it seemed very long centric, we needed to swing heavy in the other direction to kind of say, you guys thought this was like a cardio sport. It's not. Like most of the stuff we do is between 6 and 8 minutes. So that being said, like you go any other year, not after last year, and you're probably like, oh yeah, looks about like it always is. But
and I will say to that point, you guys are both 100% correct on that. If you looked at the swath of athletes' time, the range goes from 6 to 12 to 13. Even though if we're looking at the fittest finishing, especially like we usually look at the top 10, not to give an excuse, right? It's like, oh, that's offsetting. But if you looked at everybody taking the totality of the test, the heavy time range was 5 to 12 minutes in the bulk of those. But the majority of your top athletes were, yes, sub 8, rarely sub 10. So yeah, you're totally right.
Do you guys think we've gotten longer as the sport has evolved? Because if you go back and watch like 2012, there's so many events that are sub 5 minutes. Like 8 out of 12 events.
Hey, Bill, I know you got to bounce. Have I taken enough of the overall? Does it have the scoring thing, a stimulus thing? Do we want to add one for
you got to do the pegboard.
But what do you?
Oh, for this one still.
What are we blaming for the pegboard?
I think that if you're going to have equipment, you need to ensure that the stuff with the equipment is always the same. Whether that's wiping things down, whether that is whatever. I just think that anytime you have a piece of if you're bringing equipment in, you have to make sure that you know for sure that it is always going to be the same every single time. Every single time. Whether that's chalk, whether that's sweat, whether that's whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Because otherwise it's bars.
What's the number you put on that? Did anybody lose the CrossFit Games or podium because of a pegboard?
Yeah, I think Dallin
struggle
did.
with it. Yeah, there were people that it did affect people.
I think he's the only one that can claim it.
Ricky.
But okay. I can't speak to Ricky. I just know where Dallin's ability.
Yeah.
where it would be. And
Ricky could do that whole event without his legs.
I do not know Ricky's ability as good as
Ricky has the
his.
best pegboard pulling I've ever seen. If you go watch Speed Skill Medley, how quickly he went up on the legless was absolutely bonkers.
That's one at a time or two at a time though, like across of a. I'm not saying you're. I'm not saying you're.
No,
wrong,
I'm just adding
but-
to it. Like I think
Yeah.
Ricky is in the same camp.
Knowing that there are so many
Tia was in
athletes
that
that
lane
talk
and
about
it
it,
didn't matter.
knowing that there's so many athletes that had something to say about that,
Okay.
I would say a 0.5.
Oh,
I mean, it was my favorite event. Like on paper, that was my most favorite one.
okay.
But like watching it go down, like it was very NorCal, and that's what was hard about that.
I mean, we did hammer the shit out of NorCal. That's fair. All right. Do we have any
Ooh,
other?
I like that, Bill. Yeah, I feel like the pegboard was very NorCal.
I mean, it was fucking cool, and then it just didn't go the way it was supposed to.
I'm good with the 0.5, but I don't think it's anybody's fault.
And
Yeah.
I agreed.
I'm with that. All right. 8.1 B minus. That said, regardless of look, we're just
Dude, that was a massive win for the CrossFit Games,
one of the most fun games I've ever been to.
I think. Yeah, that was much needed. And I'll say it as this because I wasn't there with you guys, being jealous as hell and FOMO'd like crazy. But being out in the CrossFit community, that was a big win for the community.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like great vibes all over the place.
Huge win. Needed
Yeah.
dramatically, like in a way that is hard to describe. So,
Yeah. Anyway.
all right, gang. That was awesome. Bill, thanks for staying late. JR, John, JR, thank you for your sales and your correspondence. And Lucy,
Good to
since you're
see you
still
guys.
here, congratulations. Congratulations. Get some rest. What a season. Capped it off. John called it so long ago that this was going to be one of the day's best works. And I think he's right. And I think he was right. That was fantastic.
I'm happy that it happened.
I'm happy that you had it too, because we needed that so bad. So congrats to the games team. Congrats to the athletes. Hell of a 2025. And now I can't wait for 2026. All right, team. Have a great weekend.